Hi there, YouTube. My name is Nolan, and this is Game Chat, my weekly video game chat episodes. Anyway, I've been doing this for 3 weeks now. This is my third week, and I would like to continue doing it, so I'm just going to go ahead and call it a weekly thing. Whether or not it becomes a weekly thing, if I skip a week, I don't know. This week on my Game Chat is part 1 of Valve games. Now, I plan on recording next week part 2, but if I don't get around to it, I'm sorry. Hopefully I'll do it sometime, sooner or later. Anyway, this week is week 1. If you don't know about Valve, Valve is the corporation that, I'm just going to take a stab in the dark. I don't know if these are absolute facts or not. If you know about the Steam community, Steam is software which you can download, which actually allows you to purchase and download games and then play them on the internet. If you've also heard of Steam machines and the Steam operating system, those are kind of along the lines of the same thing. Steam machines are a very new thing. They're just starting to build up some steam. Sorry, no pun intended. Is just the first thing that came to mind. So I don't actually know much about them. Aside from that, Steam machines are built to run the Steam operating system, kind of like how Chromebooks are meant to run the Chrome operating system. And Chromebooks are for online primarily. Steam machines, I'm guessing, are more geared towards games. Anyway, let me start showing you some of my games that were created by Valve. First, I have Half-Life Generation. This is for the PC, and a lot of times when people think of Valve, they think of Half-Life. This compilation of Half-Life Generation actually includes Half-Life as well as Counter-Strike, and I don't believe this has any of the Half-Life expansion packs. The expansion packs for Half-Life were Half-Life Blue Shift, Half-Life... You know what? You put me on the spot. I forgot exactly what they are. Opposing Force, and I think there was one other one, but that escapes my mind at the moment. Anyway, if you're not familiar with the Half-Life games, what they are, they're very, very groundbreaking in terms of, no, they are not the very first-person shooter out there. But when I think about games like Doom, I think of games that, or when I think of first-person shooters, I think of Doom. Doom was a type of game where it just shot you down into the action and said, ready, go. Find some guns, go destroy some enemies, have fun while you're doing it, but it's not heavy on the story. Half-Life, on the other hand, was really big on the story, and what was really great about it is it gave you nothing to start off with. So, I don't know if you could look through the book and figure out, oh, this is where the story is, this is where it starts. No. When you start off the game with Half-Life, you don't even need to read the book. You start off, Half-Life 1 puts you in a tram on a track, and you're like, where am I going? Why am I in this tram? And you find out just through a voiceover over the PA that's coming on the tram that you are actually heading towards a laboratory facility. And in games like Doom, it's like, why are you shooting the enemies? Because they're bad. Who cares? Let's just blow them up. You know, let's find a gun and let's shoot them. In Half-Life, it was really neat because you actually discover why there are evil enemies out to kill you and why you should kill them. Well, of course, the why you should kill them is because they're trying to kill you, but it's more along the lines of why are they trying to kill you? Where did they come from? And all of that story is told within the game. So that's really wonderful, and I don't believe that's something that anybody else did previously. On this Half-Life compilation, like I said, is also Counter-Strike. And Counter-Strike was just one of the really big names when it came to online multiplayer death matches. So when you think of, for instance, Halo Deathmatch getting online with Xbox Live Gold, or just Xbox Live, Counter-Strike is definitely like that. You know, team-based, going around actually playing with and against other people live on the internet. Counter-Strike was one of the big names that got that going. Next, I have Half-Life 2, another game by Valve. Half-Life 2 actually takes place I don't know if they actually specify, but I've always suspected it was roughly 20 years after Half-Life 1. You play the same character, that man on the cover, Gordon Freeman. So he's kind of a nerd with those glasses, but people love him, okay? And his main weapon of choice is a crowbar. So if you see a picture of Gordon Freeman, this bespectacled nerd with this this metallic plasticky suit covering his whole body and holding a crowbar, that's Gordon Freeman from the Half-Life series. Now you know who that is if you've ever seen a picture of him and wondered who it was. Gordon Freeman from the Half-Life series. This game, great game. They definitely stepped up the graphics immensely from this. So in Half-Life 1, if you're going through the laboratory facility, you see all these scientists, and there might be 1, 2, or 3 different models for all the scientists. And it's like, oh, hey, I saw you before. Oh, hey, I saw you before. And the security guards, all the security guards look identical. Half-Life 2, of course, they stepped it up, gave different looks to different people, and so it's not like, hey, you, I saw you way over there. Why are there 5 of you? It's just a really great game because it carries on the story, adds a lot to the graphics, and in this game, I don't know how well you can see this, says on there about physical gameplay. This game introduced the gravity gun, which was absolutely amazing because ordinarily in games you can pick things up, move them, drop them over here. The gravity gun allows you to pick up really heavy items, and you can draw them towards yourself, and you can also repel them away at disastrous forces. And so that's really a lot of fun. There's actually a point in the game where you lose all of your weapons except for the gravity gun, and you have to try to stay alive and get through the level that way. Half-Life 2 came out for the original Xbox, as well as on the computer. You can buy it through Steam. It came out on the Xbox 360, and I will get into that a little bit more next week. And it came out for the PlayStation 3. Again, I'll get into that more next week. Half-Life 1, I failed to mention this, came out, of course, for the PC. Also came out for the PlayStation 2, which I do not have a copy of that to share with you, but just imagine this, only Half-Life 1. The graphics between the PS2 and the computer version, pretty much the same. I would have to say PS2 is probably a little bit worse because the computer's kind of the master race in terms of gaming. So anything on computer should be better, faster, smoother. Valve also made a version for the Sega Dreamcast, but this was towards the end of the Dreamcast's lifespan, and because of that, and the Dreamcast was dying, Valve decided, you know what, we're just going to drop it. Okay, they were pretty much done with the game. In fact, the game is completely playable. You cannot find a copy of it in a store. However, if you do a little investigative searching online, you should be able to find a copy of it online to download, burn to a disk, try on a Dreamcast. I do not condone that. Okay, all of my games that I present to you on Game Chat will be store-bought in discs. But it is possible to do that, and yes, it is possible to go through, play the entire game, and just like you were playing it on the PlayStation 2. So that's Half-Life 1, Half-Life 2, Counter-Strike. And just to switch things up a little bit, I wanted to introduce you to Left 4 Dead. Left 4 Dead is also a first-person shooter game. However, this game adds a whole lot of differences because instead of shooting aliens or monsters, you're actually shooting zombies and monsterified zombies. I don't say zombified monsters because they were all people, so it's people turned into zombies. So you've got regular zombies and you've got these zombies that became monsters, like boomers, which are these very, very large zombies that explode when you shoot them. And that's actually very bad because if you get their explosive guts or their bile on you, that attracts a large horde of zombies. Left 4 Dead is really great because you can actually play it with 3 other people, and that's exactly how these games are intended to be played. You played with 3 other people online or locally, and try to make it through these levels, try to survive, try to work together, and that's just a lot of fun, just a whole lot of fun. And so this game released for the Xbox 360. Xbox 360. I believe it came out for the PS3. I don't recall ever seeing that in the store. To my recollection, I may have seen it, but it's not coming to my mind at the moment, so I can't verify that it was for the PS3. And of course, it also came out for the PC. So yes, you can download it through Valve service. I've actually downloaded a copy, or through the Steam service. I've downloaded a copy through Steam, and I also bought the Xbox 360 version just because I love having physical copies of games, if just for anything to show them on my YouTube channel. So that's Left 4 Dead, and the last game that I'm going to share for you is Left 4 Dead 2. Now, why have Left 4 Dead and Left 4 Dead 2? What does Left 4 Dead 2 add? I believe it adds another class of monsterified zombie. So like I said, the boomers, which explode. There are some other things, other monsters called smokers. They have really long tongues, and they actually grab you from a long distance away and pull you towards them, and you become trapped, and you need one of your teammates to help you out. In Left 4 Dead 2, I know that they added the monster called a jockey, and what they do is they jump on your back, and then they force you to run around and try to get them off your back, and it's kind of like, I'm stuck with a zombie on my back. It's probably a lot cooler in the game than I just made it sound, but Left 4 Dead 2, I haven't played it a whole lot, but it actually introduces 4 completely different characters, and that's kind of the neat thing about Left 4 Dead and Left 4 Dead 2, is that it's not just you, okay? It's not just you and your 3 buddies. You actually get to play as the 4 characters that are listed here. And so it's like, for instance, Nolan is Chloe, or Nolan is, Lewis, or whoever. And so Left 4 Dead 2 has a completely different set of characters. Gameplay, pretty much the same otherwise. It's a first-person shooter, team-based, help out your buddy, share your resources, try to give each other advice, tips, heads up, that type of thing. And as you might expect, different levels entirely. But essentially the same type of gameplay. Still really good games. Pick them up. My biggest complaint about the Left 4 Dead games is, even though it is all story-based in a way, I mean, it's you trying to run away from zombies, trying to get through the apocalypse and trying to kill as many zombies as possible. Each campaign is completely separate from the other. So it's not like, oh, this campaign leads into this campaign, leads into this campaign, leads to the end of the game where your characters survive and it's a happy ending. Well, at the end of each campaign, it's a pseudo-happy ending in that you've survived, but there's still zombies out there, and it's like, where do we go from there? That's kind of what bugs me, but it's still a lot of fun, and it has a lot of replay value. Kind of like a racing game, and it's nothing like a race. Sorry, it's nothing like a racing game in that you don't actually race, but it's got the replay value of a racing game, such that I'd like to try this a different way. I'd like to try to get to the end in a different manner, see if I can do this, and does that make a difference? Or play with different people, and it'll be a different experience entirely. Play with inexperienced players, you get to help them out a lot more. It just becomes a different ball game each time you play. But a lot of fun. Left 4 Dead 1 and 2, Half-Life 1 and 2, Counter-Strike. Those are the games on this week's Game Chat, Valve Games Part 1. And next week I will present to you some more Valve games in Valve Games Part 2. Anyway, thanks for watching, and I'll see you next week. Bye.